On one hand, you have stigma. I don't want to offend you. I want to understand what you're going through. But on another hand, there's clearly something that you did wrong.
GG lah, bro.
Welcome to Good Game Well Played, the talk show with a twist.
Every episode, we talk about topics in our society.
All while playing fun games.
At the end of the day, we just want to have a good discussion and play some games.
Feelings might get hurt,
People will get shook.
but hey, at the end we can all say
Good game, well played.
Oh, and finally, the points don't matter.
Huh? Points don't matter?
Yeah lah, the points don't matter.
How then like that how?
Faster lah, stop wasting time, stop asking so much questions. Faster.
Hi everyone, welcome to Good Game
Well played.
And then the five of us, let's introduce ourselves.
Wendy, Nancy.
Yeah.
Elvin. And today we're going to be talking about mental illness. And meantime, we'll be playing Uno. You know, someone can
Dealing cards.
Let's go around the table, right? What are your personal brushes with mental illness?
For me, it's probably like in secondary school, there are a lot of friends or like a lot of girls back then that have like eating disorders.
Was it a very common thing you're saying?
Secondary school, yeah. And then people like to make fun of it because they're like very skinny or they're very lean. Yeah, it was just not great. Yeah, it was not good for them.
Can you count? I lost track.
I think what's very common is a lot of people are suffering from anxiety and depression. I personally had a brush with it also.
Wow.
It was quite a big shock though, because people don't really know what happens behind the scenes because they just see you in school, but they don't really know when you are alone in your room, when it really hits you. And sometimes I think the lines get a little bit blurred between sad versus depressed. But so I think it's so important for people to start to be aware of how to be there for people, even though you may not 100% relate.
Fun fact actually, because I have ADHD, because I'm in army now. So my PES is C9. When I went for BMT, they group all the PES C and PES B together. But it's all on different tiers. Spectrum is way more towards the hyperactivity side.
Yep.
So then that's where people have that perception, oh, okay, ADHD is just like hyperactive kind. So then that's where like I get a lot of questions like, ADHD, but you're not. I don't see you like running around. I don't see you like
That's a common thing, right?
that kind of thing. But I'm like, actually it's different. It's not interesting thing because when you're in your bunk at night and everything, you're kind of talking to each other like, so you're why are you here for? Why are you here? Why are you Bessie? Why are you this?
For me, I have had a depressive episode because I was aware that something was not right. My usual coping mechanisms are not working anymore. I think a lot of us actually don't know how to handle it because like, are we supposed to not talk about it, or are we supposed to talk about it? Are we supposed to find out more or not? First, let's start it off with a video. Yeah, we prepared a video. So this was during circuit breaker.
Without a warning, without a fine. What's your understanding? I'm a sovereign. I am a sovereign.
So first impression, everyone.
I think the thing that everyone's focusing on is like how you just want to wear a mask. It's like, it's just a mask, gosh, you just wear a mask and you avoid all this whole problem kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not just protecting us, it's also protecting you. Yeah. I think natural first instinct is like, is she okay?
Oh really?
Because knowing that there's a pandemic and there's all these things going on, yet you still don't want to, then it just begs the question like, are you okay?
Interesting. So there was a bit of empathy already. Like you were worried that it's something wrong.
And also the whole pandemic was like a very high stress situation.
So now knowing a bit more, that's why the empathy comes in. Or is there something really wrong and things like that?
I hope you don't mind, but
Yeah.
I'd just like to jump in, right? Because I noticed that you said, oh, is there something wrong?
Yeah.
And I think that wrong is a little bit, it might not sit too well because I feel that what is right and wrong is really very relative. If someone is doing something that is different and we say that is wrong, I think that shows kind of a sort of judgment already.
Yeah.
I think our words are very, very important to hold safety for the person. And hey, is there something that is limiting you rather than what you're doing is wrong?
But then again, like in this case, there is clearly something right or wrong. So as in she's really doing something, she's breaking the rules. That's an interesting thing as well. So on one hand, you have stigma, but then again, in order for society to function, there has to be right or wrong. There's law. So how do we, like on one hand, yes, I don't want to offend you. I want to understand what you're going through. But on the other hand, there's clearly something that you did wrong. So of course these are two different things lah. Yeah. So then, in the case of someone who has mental disorder, is it fair for them to get special treatment? Wow, triggering something, yes.
I think it's very problematic to say special treatment because I don't think mental health illness it means that you are special. I think the word special is it's a certain connotations in society, right? It's a little bit problematic. So
Okay, so speaking as an employer, right?
yeah.
If I were to hire someone and then the person has a special needs that I have to treat that person differently from the rest, is that special?
I feel like it's taking the time to understand them and to ensure that they also understand what's going on. And for us, we will usually take the time to also ensure, right? To take the time to ensure that instead of seeing it as a you cannot wake up on time kind of thing, we make sure that hey, you cannot wake up late this morning kind of thing.
People who are going through mental health issues. But I cannot Uno with this. Okay. Okay, anyway. Yeah.
Why cannot know?
Okay.
Oh!
Now you know that he probably doesn't have that issue.
How about, have you heard of trends where people think it's cool to have? To be
Get it.
Hey yo, ADHD check.
I'll never be what you see inside. You say I'm not lonely, but I am.
So that's the other problem. Okay, I feel like that's the other problem.
It's like too much on the other end, right?
So you glamorize mental health disorders and mental illness.
Yeah, because some people may actually be going through it. Then there are some people who just because they feel sad about something, then it equates to have anxiety and
You know what triggers me? Seeing those TikToks where people are like, OMG, I have ADHD. It's just them doing random things.
There's always like, if you play this audio around people with like ADHD or something, you see how different people react. Then they like to record themselves.
And now, an experiment. If you want to know what it feels like to have ADHD, use the 3 times filter. If you talk a pace that feels normal and natural to you, the rest of the world perceives that as going way, way too fast.
And then it's like, you did this for what, honestly?
Exactly. No, it's.
Why?
Okay, I get annoyed by people who in a sense do the whole self-diagnosis thing. Especially OCD.
Maybe it's real for you. Maybe you are really experiencing this.
So that's why like what you said, the line gets blurred.
So that's where there are movies that talk about certain mental health issues thing, and people in some sense some people find it as there's more they're finally shedding more light onto this or that mental condition. But then you have the spectrum of people who are OMG, I want to be like that for some reason. And then that's where the whole self-diagnosis thing.
Okay, so I'm going to blow your minds a bit. What if someone actually has this and use this as a way to cope?
Yeah, so
They truly have it. Yeah.
You don't know if someone is really using it as a coping mechanism so that they feel that, okay, this is something that really weighs me down, so I'm therefore going to put lightness into it. So I think that,
exactly.
Yeah.
So how will we know?
So it's like, let me pray for you.
It's not your place to decide whether or not they have a mental health disorder or not, because you're not the person. But then it's just sad when they really don't have.
Game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I thought Uno game of
No, Uno game. Sorry.
Okay, so another thing that I want to ask that might be a bit of a trigger, right? Do men have it worse?
I think it's a general, I think in a local context, there's that pressure on the male to carry themselves a certain way and to, be masculine and strong. Yeah, hold it all in and bottle everything and be this perfect person. And I feel because of that, you just find it a little bit more abnormal to talk about that.
Interesting. I thought you were a technique. Yeah, but you all do see toxic masculinity and things like that as being part of the problem, right?
Yeah. Honestly, as in coming back to Harmony again, it's quite crazy because when there are times where everyone's in the bunk, everyone's just talking to each other. That's where people who I used to have depression, but I'm okay kind of thing. And then that's where all guys and everything will start to open up. And sometimes I even I think it's the first time I talked about this to someone kind of thing besides my psychiatrist or because a lot of times their mental health disorders and issues and all dismissed. Guys sometimes when they share about how they feel about something, sometimes the response is, hey, just man up lah, hey bro.
Yeah, just man up lah.
Bro, come on lah, this one thing, small thing only. And then that's where it gets annoying because that's where their issues are always dismissed as small or like
they're not man enough.
Yeah, they're not man enough.
Oh wow, interesting. I thought that you guys would be against this. Okay, so the last thing, give me a one-liner of if we can magically do something with regards to mental health awareness.
Okay, so there's this thing called pronoia. So there's paranoia, right?
Ah.
Instead of para, there's pronoia.
Okay.
So paranoia is the belief that the world is against you.
Yes.
So you worry a lot, right?
Yeah.
But pronoia is the belief that the world is conspired for you. Because when we believe that we're supported, when we believe that things will be okay,
Yes.
and we also believe it for other people as well, that's when we start to have stronger support systems. That's when we have stronger faith in ourselves also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that builds such a sustainable mechanism.
Yep.
Yeah, rather than okay, I'm worried. Because when we start to worry, we are starting to worry about whether people will harm us as well.
Yeah.
And then we start to go in our own teams.
Understand the needs and different spectrums of all the different mental issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess like primary school and secondary school, there's always this like awkward or like scary thing about going to see the school counselor. Then people make it seem like you have a very big problem or like something's wrong with you. But then I guess we need to talk about it more.
Just nice. On that note, this is the end of this episode of Good Game.
Well played.
Yes, so if you're enjoying our content and you'd like us to talk more about topics like these, even toxic masculinity, do let us know in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe and like the video.